I just shot a video, and I shot it depending upon a Uric 7 recorder. In other words, I recorded the audio in a Uric 7, and this particular thing, the VU meter was working. I could hear it on the headphones that it was working, and then when I went back to listen to the video on the Uric 7, there was nothing on the SD card. It's one of those things that happens. And if you're going to be making videos, you really need to understand that in your head, as a one-man operation, you must always be aware of your checklist. Checklist, what am I talking about? Well, everything. Is the temperature okay for videotaping? Whether you're shooting it in a little room like this or outdoors. That's your responsibility. The backdrop, depending on what you want to do. Is the backdrop okay? Are you going to be shooting a video where you're going to be needing a chroma key backdrop? You got to check on your backdrop, make sure it's okay. Your camera. Is the camera working fine? Will it focus automatically? As a one-man operation, that is extremely important. That you don't have to focus manually, because if I'm back here somewhere, it ought to be in focus. And when I come in close, it should still be in focus. That's your responsibility. SD card. Do you have enough on it? Is it the right SD card? The lens that you're going to be using. Is it appropriate for the shoot? Battery. The other day I checked everything except the battery, assuming that my battery was okay. 10 minutes into the shoot, the battery died and I did not have a spare. Details, details, details. Tripod. Are you going to need a tripod? I carry a tripod in the back of my car because every once in a while I'll reach a situation. Sure, I'm out there to shoot still photos, but I get to a situation where I need a tripod because I think the subject should move, the camera should not move. So, and then you go back to things like lighting. If you're going to be shooting things like in a room like this, then what I have is a shoulder light, I have a main light, and then I have a fill light. It's your responsibility to make sure that all the lightings are working. Your background light, your fill light, your main light. And then sound. Here's one for you. When you don't have the proper sound on your video, your audience will notice that. Something is wrong and they can't put their finger on it. Let me tell you a little secret, something that I do. When I shoot outdoors, I will use the on-camera sound for the ambient sound, you understand? For what is happening around me. But I don't depend on the on-camera sound for the audio. I will usually shoot that on a separate recorder. And here we go again. Does the recorder work? Is it working? Is there a battery in the recorder? You know, it's your responsibility. And if you're talking about sound, what kind of mics are you going to be using? Are you going to be using a lavalier? Are you going to be using a handheld mic? What kind of mic will you be using? Will you be using a shotgun type mic? These are your responsibility. As far as recorders are concerned, I just told you about my experience with the Uric 7. It looked as if everything was working, except nothing was on the SD card. So it's up to you to make sure your recorder is going to be working fine. As for outdoor shooting, indoors is fine because you control the lighting. What about outdoors? You got to make very sure that the lighting is okay. Now, let's talk about skin tone, for example. From my skin tone, and if I'm going to be shooting outdoors, indoors not so much, but outdoors, right? I don't want to be shooting in the bright sunlight in a white shirt because that contrast doesn't always work. So, when I'm shooting outdoors, I want a shirt or clothing that is close to my own skin tone. I don't need that extra contrast. This is my responsibility. So, when you hear the director say, camera, and he gets the feedback, Camera's rolling, and he yelled, sound. Sound is rolling. Action. As a one-man operation, it's all you.